Maybe, maybe. All right, there we go. Today's presentation is on dog bite prevention. Um, and this may seem like kind of an odd presentation for a safety moment. It's actually something that impacts many of our people, and actually it probably doesn't seem odd. If you signed up for this, there's probably a reason why you attended this session. I want to start off by doing a poll. And once again, I cannot see my cursor, so hold on. There we go. We'll open this poll. Just have a couple of questions for you in here. These are pretty simple questions. Have you ever been threatened or frightened by a dog? And the second question: have you ever been bit? Let that run for just a second and kind of take the temperature of the group and see what your experience has been while you're doing that. Doug and Brent, you ever been bit by a dog?
Yes.
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 I have not, actually.
Really?
I have not. Not
I've
that I
been
can-
bit a couple of times, maybe more than that.
I'm gonna say I've had a few run-ins as well. Have you ever been really frightened by a dog? I mean, I had a dog nip my hand pretty good one time, but I wasn't super frightened when that happened. It was just kind of one of those things. A dog came up to me and grabbed my hand. But I've also been very frightened a few times as well. All right, let's see how we ended up. I hit that. Okay, is everybody able to see? Can you see the results?
No.
That's because I have to click that button. Now, can you see the results?
Yes, I see it. You have to click on polling down below.
Okay, vast majority have been threatened by a dog or chased by a dog in the past, and it looks like about 50-50 split between people who have been or not. So that's pretty good. That's really actually a pretty good chunk of people that have been bit by a dog. And I think back on my life, a lot of those dogs, or a lot of those dog bites, and I've had several, have been my own dog. And sometimes it was just messing around. It was an accidental bite by the dog, and sometimes it was I was in the middle of an altercation between a couple of animals, and we'll talk about that as well. But let's talk about the dog bite problem. There are about 70 million dogs in the US, and almost 5 million people get bit every year in the US. 800,000, almost a million people need medical attention from this dog bite, and there are 20 to 30 fatalities every year. That's pretty crazy. The most common groups of people who end up with dog bites are young children and seniors. I guess we could, I always like to look at statistics and say why and ask questions. I don't know what this is, but I got a pretty good idea with kids. They may be more trusting. They're also shorter and maybe more susceptible to dog bites. They're smaller and all of those things. Well, I looked through our statistics for the trust, and we average about 30 dog bite cases that go to become a workers' compensation claim every year. So it is a significant issue out there. The majority of those are not serious. Most of the time, it's a minor bite, but they want to go in and get some medical treatment to make sure that there isn't an infection if it's somebody else's dog. But it's something that can be traumatic and something that we don't want to have to deal with. So that's what we want to talk about today, is preventing these dog bites. First of all, we have to really accept the problem that's out there. All dogs can bite. That's just a reality of the world. Is a dog can bite. And just because your dog is a little tiny dog, I think back of when I was thinking about the dog bites I've endured during my life. couple of those came from little ankle biters, and they bit me on the ankle. They were just little dogs like this that, you know, go to visit an elderly person in my neighborhood, and they have a little dog, and as you're walking out, it nips you on the heel or on the ankle, and any dog can bite. And so we have to accept that, and we have to be a little less than trusting when it comes to dealing with dogs, because not all dogs are the same. And when we look at this, we have a lot of people in the trust membership who are doing jobs that are potentially affected by dog bites. Utility workers, you're going to read meters, animal control people. A pretty good percentage of the dog bites that we see come in are involving animal control folks, people who do this on a daily basis. Mosquito abatement people may be doing control in people's backyards. Law enforcement is a really common one. And a lot of those dog bites that we see involve canine officers, where we have a dog that's trained to bite, and sometimes they bite the wrong person. There's some training issues that go along with that as well. Fire and EMS, you run into a house because somebody's having an emergency and there's an agitated dog in there. Sometimes they can bite. But these are the most common occupations, but there could be others. Some of the problem that we see are not all dogs are the same. They don't let us know, hey, I'm a biter. They don't tell us what they're really about unless we know how to read what their behavior is. We don't have any control over the environment. We're going out to read a meter, or we're going into somebody's home to address a law enforcement issue or a injury from a public safety standpoint. We're on the dog's turf, and we don't control what's happening there, and so that puts us in a bad position. The owners don't help out. What is every owner's opinion about their dog? Well, their dog's the best dog in the world, and my dog doesn't bite. My dog, he's okay. He just barks a lot. So owners can be a complicating problem with this problem as well. So what is the solution to this bad problem that we have? Well, number one, we need to understand dog behavior. We need to understand what a dog's posture. What is this dog telling me? Because they don't talk, and so we have to read into what they're giving us. Being prepared and taking confident action. Sometimes hesitation or really kind of cowering can cause us a problem, because we're giving a dog an opening to bite us. So let's go back into the evolution of a dog. What has happened? Every dog breed that we have has been developed from an original wolf. Sometime long ago, wolves were domesticated, and then we started picking out traits in different dogs, and said, hey, I like this. And so we would breed for this or that. And so dogs got bigger, they got smaller, they became hunting dogs, they became good companion dogs, you name it. We have a breed for about everything, but every dog is a little bit of a wolf. And wolves hunt in a pack. And so in a pack, we have an alpha dog. We have the most dominant, authoritative dog. And then we have subordinate dogs that are around that, but they hunt in a pack, and this behavior is pretty consistent, that they have alpha stands up in front of the prey, as you can see in this picture here, and they keep the prey busy. The rest of the dogs, these subordinate dogs, surround the prey, and they'll run in and take a bite here or there, and they look for an opportunity to bite. So if we're dealing with multiple dogs in a given location, we got to remember this. Alpha is going to keep us busy while beta dog, or all the way down to omega dog, is they're just looking for an opportunity to sneak in and grab a bite. So keep this in mind as we're dealing with dogs. I'm dealing with a wolf, even if it looks like a Chihuahua. a posture of a dog will tell us an awful lot about what their mood is and what they mean towards you. We have four basic postures here. We have a subordinate posture, a submissive aggressive posture, a confident posture, and a dominant aggressive posture. And they're pretty, those words are pretty descriptive there, but let's take a look. This is my dog, Jake. And Jake is a pretty subordinate dog, at least when I'm around. And he when I walk up to Jake, he'll roll over and show me his belly. He's like, scratch my belly. And what is Jake telling me by this? Well, he's pretty darn subordinate. He's showing me his belly. Mouth's open, his whole body wiggles when I go to see him. He's telling me that I'm pretty happy and I don't mean you any threat. We have a submissive aggressive stance in a dog. We got to keep our eye on this dog. What is this dog telling me in this picture? Tells me I'm scared, but I'm going to bite you. I'm not going to take any guff. So we look at this, tail down, back bent. They're submissive, right? A little nervous, but I could hurt you. Ears back, rapid bark, panic behavior. This is the quickest dog to bite. And these dogs will many times bite you when your back is turned. This was that little ankle biter I was talking about. That little wiener dog that would sit there and bark like this until I turned my back to walk out of my neighbor's house, and then it was on my ankle. So we want to keep our eyes on this dog because they're telling me I'm just looking for an opportunity to bite. Another picture here that I thought was really good showing this posture. Confident. What is this dog telling me? It's telling me that, hey, buddy, this is my yard, and I will bite you. Okay? So their head is up, ears forward, tail is wagging, chest forward. They're telling you, I'm the boss here. They may greet you. If they're threatened, they will defend their territory. Okay? It's not maybe what we'll see in the next posture where they're going to come after you, but they're definitely going to defend their territory. Dominant aggressive dog. This is a very dangerous type dog. This, we have a forward posture. What does that mean? That means they're leaning in there, and versus that cowering dog that was kind of leaning back. This dog is leaning forward. His scruff is up on the back of on his back. This is the type of dog that may bounce off of the fence, jump up and down, bounce off of. I had another neighbor. Maybe I need to stop visiting my neighbors. They have a lot of crazy dogs. I have a neighbor that if you knock on the door or ring the doorbell, he had a giant Rottweiler and it would bounce off the window. And it was a very large window, and I thought, I don't know how that window is actually holding this dog back. Anyway, but this dog would just run and jump at the window, and I knew if that window broke, he would be all over me. Okay. This type of dog won't let you enter the yard. This dog says, I am the biggest, baddest, meanest dog in the world, and if you come in here, I'm going to tear you up. Okay. So here's something that may surprise most people. You are more likely to be bitten when the owner is present. Why is that? Well, let's go back to that pack behavior. A single dog may not be quite as aggressive as they are when they're in a pack. Just like people, right? When we have a group that is backing us up on whatever it is, we may be a little more confident. They may be a little more likely to be forceful in the things that we say and the things that we do. Same thing goes for a dog. The dog says, "Hey, I've got reinforcements here, and let's get this guy." Okay. All right. So take a look at this picture. Isn't this cute? Well, if we look closely, it really isn't. What is this dog telling us? This dog's telling us we're just about to take a trip to the emergency room because this kid's about to get bit in the face because of the posture, because of this dog is exhibiting that submissive, aggressive posture there. Did I say that? I said that wrong, didn't I? This dog is letting you know that I'm ready to bite because I'm nervous about what's going on here. All right. So how do we fix this problem? Now we know a little bit about what a dog's posture tells us. What do we do to keep ourselves from getting bitten? Well, situational awareness is so important. We need to assess the site. I got a job to do. I've got to go read a meter. I've got to go into a backyard and treat a pond for mosquitoes or whatever it may be. Got to go into a house got to go into a house to treat somebody that's had an emergency medical issue. I don't have a lot of time in many of these cases because it's an emergency, but I've got to do my due diligence to ensure my situational awareness is there. So assess the site. What's going on? What's going to tell me there's a dog in the neighborhood? Well, there's a dog dish out there. There are chewed up toys. There's some bones from the last guy that walked into this dog's yard. Look for those types of things, tracks and dog feces and all of those things that might let me know. As I case this area, what can I use as a defense? Is that fence high enough to keep that dog in? Will the door hold? Whether it's the door on the house or the door on the gate, what are my escape routes? How do I get out of here if I do run into a problem? Also, our situational awareness. Let's look at our past experience. I may have been to this house before and we had a problem there. In those cases, well, I already know that there's a potential issue, so I've got to take some initiative there to take care of the problem. Are there owner issues? Have I had a problem with the owner here in the past, or there are signs up that say beware of dog, or my dog's faster than you can run? Some people work and train their dogs to be guard dogs. All of these things are important. How do you ensure that you know there's a dog there? Rattle the gate. Do something to let that dog know, hey, there's somebody here, and get the dog to come out. Before you go into the yard, before you put yourself into an exposed position, let's get the dog to come out and tell us what his attitude is for that day. All right. If I'm going up to knock on somebody's door and I know there's a dog there, there's indications that there's a dog, and there's a screen door or a storm door on this house, just put your foot at the base of the storm door. So if that dog goes and bounces off and it's coming after you, at least you've got a chance to prevent the dog from getting out and biting you. Because remember, that dog's there, their owner is present, they're feeling confident. And so many of the negative interactions that we have happen right there at the door. Okay. What happens if dogs get into a fight? What do I do? Well, I don't want these dogs to tear each other up, and that's great. That's a good thing to want to prevent, but don't try to get into the middle of these. Oh, it's my dog. He won't bite me. Yes, he will. If he's in a fight, he's going to bite whatever is available. So, well, how do I handle it? Use tools. Anything that I might have there, yard equipment, tools, shovels, rakes, a bucket of water, or a hose that you can spray on dogs is something that I've found to be one of the surest ways to break up a dog fight. If they start getting sprayed by water, they tend to change their attitude really quickly. But don't go sticking your hand or any body part anywhere near a dog fight because you will get bit, and potentially it'll be by your own dog. Be prepared. Don't bumble into a dog. Like I said, rattle the gate, do things, make some noise. Let those dogs know that you are present, and so you can gauge what the threat level is. keep something between you and the dog, whether that's the fence or whether that's an object that I can walk around. Do that. Your safest route is by a wall or a fence. Why? Well, that's so that other sneak up from behind me or to the side of me. I've got something to prevent that dog from sneaking up. Read the signs, literal signs, beware of dog, but read the other signs about this dog looks risky because of X. Don't trust the owners. You know, as you come into a yard, the owner is out there, and they're like, "Oh, my dog's fine. Don't worry about that." Ask the doctor. Ask the dog's owner to control the dog. Lock the dog up, put it in the kennel, tie it up, put it in the house, whatever that may be, and just let them know I'm not going to come in and do my job until you control the dog. And sometimes that may be frustrating to them, but just say, hey, it's for both of our safety here. I don't want to be bit, and you don't want your dog to go through the problems that may happen if it does bite me. What do I do if I'm facing I blew it. I had this happen one day. I walked into a yard and just didn't have my situational awareness up. I'm walking down a sidewalk, and all of a sudden, here is this, and this is as close as I've ever seen to a junkyard dog. This was really a rough mutt, and I didn't see it there. It was lying on the ground, and I walked up to it, and we saw each other at the same time. And this dog, I'm sure I scared it because of my presence, and it came after me, and it was ready to bite, and I leapt the gate, and luckily I didn't get bitten. But sometimes we end up in this situation. So I'm facing a threat. Posture is important. My posture is just as important as that dog's posture. What I tell the dog in my posture may have a huge impact on what this dog does back towards me. So we always want to face the threat. Okay, just like a bear. Keep your face to the animal, face to the threat. If I turn and run away, that just tells the dog, hey, this is prey. I need to run and bite this thing. So face it and back away from that. Don't turn your back or to the side. Keep something between you, and that could be the fence. It could be the tool bag that you've got in your hand. It could be something that you can put between you and that dog. But when we talk about those postures, confident postures, use command words. Think about your dog. When your dog does something wrong, or you want to get them under control, what type of words do you use? No, sit, out, something like that, and use those in a command form, and be very strong about that. Some dogs that might be thinking, I can bite this guy, when they're told to sit in a very commanding manner, they may go, oh, whoa, okay, this guy means business. Okay, use commanding, slow gestures. Be very careful swinging your hands and arms around, because dogs are looking for an opportunity, they're looking for a target. Once again, you're faced with something like this. Where do I go? Keep your back to the wall or the fence, and move your way towards the gate or the door, whatever your exit plan is. Have something in your hand. So if you've got a tool bag or something like that, maybe your task is you read meters, and so you go from yard to yard and look at this. So this is a regular occurrence. You may use something like a bite stick. Brent, do you have that bite stick? This isn't something that utilities have used over the years, and it's a really simple object. And what it is a little piece of PVC pipe with a tennis ball attached to the end of it. Cut a hole in the tennis ball and slide that over the PVC pipe, and then point it directly at the camera there, Brent.
Can you guys see that okay?
Put it right up to the camera. Yeah, right. Yeah.
So there's the tennis ball.
Yeah, there's actually a rope that goes through, and then a handle, and then a cap on the end with a knot tied on it, so you can tighten it up. And that way you can carry it easily. It's got a loop on it. And what we're doing with a bite stick is we're giving the dog something to bite that's not your hand or your leg or whatever. So an aggressive dog comes out and you're not aware of it. You give the dog this bite stick. You hold on to it, of course, but you let it grab a hold of that tennis ball, and it's going to bite it. And in many cases, you can safely walk out and just back away from this animal until you get out of the gate. I've seen folks in utilities using these bite sticks with dogs that are biters. And I'm not telling you to go in with a biter, but I've watched people do this. They'll take the bite stick, put it over the gate, and the dog bites it, and will just keep biting it. They move in, they go over, and they read their meters the whole time the dog's biting the ball on the bite stick, and they back out of there. So it's a little light thing that you can carry along with you, but if this is the world that you're in, it may be a really important tool for you. Some people carry an umbrella. An umbrella is something that can startle a dog, and if you pop it open and closed, you may be able to prevent that dog from getting too close to you. So if I'm facing a threat, what do? The dog hasn't bit me yet, but it is definitely demonstrating that it's a threat to me. One thing that you can do is you can stomp your feet. Do this when you go home. If you have a dog in your house, stomp your feet. What does your dog do? Well, your dog's going to cower a little bit. One thing that is important to know about dogs is their feet are very tender. You think of fighting off a human attack, or somebody comes after you. What should your target be? Well, in many cases, a man comes after you, you go for his private parts. That is a way to inflict a lot of pain on a human. That's not so much a target for us in a dog, but their feet are. So if I stomp my feet, I'm letting that dog know that their feet are at risk. I could hurt them, and they're probably going to stay back. And also, as we look at this, give the dog something to bite. A bite stick, tool bag, whatever you have. Pay attention to what's in the yard. Improvise. If there's an object there, a shovel or a rake, that's something that you can use to keep the dog away from you, or potentially use as a weapon if the dog is insistent on attacking you. What about things like pepper spray, hitting the dog, lethal methods? Well, I guess anything goes in the right situation. One thing that I've personally witnessed with pepper spray or mace or anything like that is it may work today, but the next time you come around, if you have to go back to this yard, that dog's going to remember. I had some dogs when I was a kid, and the UPS guy sprayed the dogs one time. And from that point forward, when that brown truck rolled around the corner, they were angry. They hated the UPS guy for that. Just a thought on that. Striking. Where do I strike a dog? Well, if a dog bites your hand and you hit it on top of the head, what is that going to do? Well, it's going to force those teeth deeper into your hand. So think very closely about that. Stomp on the dog's feet. Kick the dog in the belly or the under parts if you can. Make sure you're able to stay vertical. Don't put yourself in a situation where you could be tipped over, because that could be much more dangerous to you. Lethal means, if you're in law enforcement and you have those means, that's a decision you have to make. But it's something you have to be aware of your situation and how effective whatever means is you're going to use. So what if I'm bit? In addition to stomping on the feet or the legs, go for the throat or the collar. If that dog has a collar and they've got a hold of your legs, grab a hold of that collar and start twisting. Let that dog know that one of you is going to win this, and you have the best access to the throat. Keep a hold of the dog. Don't allow that dog to drag you somewhere. Move to safety. Even if this dog's biting my arm, back away to the gate, and then we'll figure a way to get away from that dog at that point. What if you're bit? Get to safety. Get out of that. Wash the bite immediately. There are a lot of bacteria in a dog bite, and even a small dog bite can result in some serious infections. So if your skin is broken, get medical attention on that. Report a dog bite every time. Why? Because this dog may be a problem. We want to have that dog on a list. That you could be just the latest of a whole list of people who have been bit by this dog, and we want to handle problem animals. Okay? So just in summary, we have to maintain our situational awareness every day for all kinds of threats, and dogs are no different. As you go about this and you're dealing with dogs, use a confident posture. Let them know that you understand what dogs are, and you're not going to you're not going to cower or back down, but you are going to be smart in what you do. Use strong, commanding words. Don't ever turn your back on a dog, any dog, even if it came up and greeted you before. Don't turn your back on that animal. Always put something between you, and just be smart as we deal with this type of animal. All right, that's it. If any of you have any questions, type those into the chat box or the Q&A box, and we will answer those now. This really drives me batty that I can't see my cursor. Okay, I can't see. There we go. Q&A. Doug and Brent, anything that you thought of during the presentation?
What about carrying, something for the dog, like a treat or something like that? Is that going to do anything, or is that just?
Especially for this is a recurring place. I go back to read the Veeder each month. I know my current UPS delivery person actually does that. He has a bag of dog treats in the truck, and so my dog now, when the UPS guy comes, he's pretty excited because he gets a dog treat. So yeah, I think that's definitely something that you could consider, and especially if it's a place you're going to be going back and forth back to on a regular basis. Good question. Good idea. All right. Well, I don't see any questions coming in, folks. I appreciate your attendance today. We'll be doing it again at 9 o'clock. So definitely, if you have some other folks that in your organization that didn't watch this one, let me know if you need a link. Send an email to jason@utahtrust.gov, and I will send a link out to them. And then Brent's going to be doing aerial lift safety at 10 o'clock today. Thanks, folks. Appreciate everybody attending. Well, have a safe day.